the 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 so-called establishment take on this. Let's see what's going on here.
Everybody is on the cancellation block. And if you don't cancel, the best path to joining the woke, by the way, is to cancel yourself preemptively.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have already beaten Ben Shapiro at his own game, and I didn't even start the video yet. I already spoke to you about why preemptive strikes and identity politics, or politics in general, is a bad idea, because you eventually start forecasting your moves, and anything that happens that aligns with that, you hop on, as opposed to using any type of nuance whatsoever to have a meaningful conversation about the things that you care about. Therefore, I know for a fact that you don't care about this shit. But, yeah, that's not how you join the left, by canceling the woke mob, by canceling yourself preemptively. This video's already a lie because I already explained to you why this shit isn't happening. But let's see what he has to say.
And this is precisely what is happening to Dr. Seuss. So, Dr. Seuss's books are classics of children's literature. He's the greatest children's author for kids who are under the age of 7 of all time. It is not close. I read Dr. Seuss books to my kids pretty much every day.
That's a lie.
Okay, but according to a Virginia school district, Dr. Seuss's birthday can no longer be touted on Read Across America Day.
According to one town in one state across the entire world, Dr. Seuss has been canceled.
Because a study said the author's work is, quote, filled with Orientalism, anti-blackness, and white supremacy. Now, I grew up reading Dr. Seuss books. You grew up reading Dr. Seuss books. Everybody grew up reading Dr. Seuss books. Did it make you more racist to read a Dr. Seuss book?
That's hyperbole. This is why I don't like him. That is not a fair criticism of what you just said. And if I were having a debate with him, I'd have to go back and immediately stop him from talking, like I just paused, and say, that is not a fair criticism. You are literally creating a question that anybody with a semblance of thought would say, of course not. That might be what you use to hook in your listeners, but that's not a meaningful discourse. That's just you being fucking stupid.
Did it ever even occur to you that race was an element of Dr. Seuss books until I just said this 1 second ago?
Because I was 7 and had no concept of racism until people started calling me the fucking N-word and calling me an uppity N-word for being able to think and use nuance to have a great vocabulary, a great vernacular, and that I should know my fucking place. It is so
of course not.
Egregious.
Because no one is actually outraged about this. There is
no outrage. Okay, so what are you talking about?
No, there are no human beings who read Dr. Seuss books and are actually angry at them. All of this is just about signaling. It is about setting new standards, hoops for people to jump through. And if you ask for any sort of context that provides whether the book is racist, whether it is racist to read If I Ran the Zoo, because there are people of Asiatic appearance in the book If I Ran the Zoo. If you even ask that even the question is racist.
But you're not answering the question. You proposed that shit to yourself and then said, like, yeah, I'm the devil's advocate. Like, there's nobody on this fucking earth who would answer this question with anything mostly above a no, right? Like, duh. And for some reason, you have the ability to take that and run wild with it for 550,000 views of people who are probably agreeing with you. Dr. Seuss literally wrote books about anti-racism, the Sneetches, he brings it up, the Tucker Carlson one, and about environmentalism, the Lorax, two things that the left supposedly loves, yet they cancel them. Nobody's canceling Dr. Seuss, though. So that comment means more people being like, yeah, they're trying to cancel Dr. Seuss. I refuse to allow it to happen. No, they're taking America. Causing your own spiral of disbelief. Then enter somebody like me, who will be able to nuance this conversation and tell you why these thoughts are being brought up, how they're being brought up, and for what reasons the situation even landed on this topic. And you know what they'll say? Oh, that's my opinion, and I don't like that he's being canceled, even though I'm telling you, yo, I'm not even trying to be funny with you. That's not happening. So why did I read this, and that? And I can explain this, and that to you.
Say, okay, well, he drew that in 1940, and let's just say that it was insensitive in 1940. Has any child read this in the last 20, 30, 40 years? and come away with a bad impression of people from Japan because they read a Dr. Seuss book?
How would you know? Matter of fact, aren't we the ones who used to hold up the... I'm so sorry to say this out loud because I understand it's sensitive to people, trigger warning, whatever. But aren't we the country that had white people hang signs up on their fucking, like, porches that said, this is a whites only town, Japs, go find a new place to, like, be, like, you deserve to be locked up? Didn't we have Japanese internment camps? That book isn't racist, but people damn sure had a racist worldview on Japan in the 1940s. Didn't we drop fucking nukes on them? Like, I think we would owe it to the fucking people that we dropped literal atomic nuclear bombs on to maybe say, hey, we're not gonna, like, in our society publish anything that's negative about you guys, because, you know, we kind of owe you one. just the one, like,
to ask that question is to be the problem, because now you are asking for evidence of a claim that is by nature a claim that is rooted solely in feelings.
I literally just walked you guys through a 2-minute discussion on why that's bullshit.
So how did the Dr. Seuss Foundation respond to this? Not by defending their guy. Of course not. Instead, the official organization that controls the legacy of Dr. Seuss said it will no longer sell 6 of the author's children's books over racist and insensitive depictions, including his very first major book. And to think that I saw it on Mulberry Street, I can't even remember what is supposed to be racist, and to think that I saw it on Mulberry Street. If I Ran the Zoo and McGilligan's Pool. By the way, I own all of them. You should buy them today. They're great for your kids. The notion that this is...
You want to give money to the people that... So they're not being canceled! You are funding the people! Fuck you, bro! Oh my God. It's nauseating. It's literally nauseating. It is nauseating. This is... They didn't defend their guy. They cowered to the woke mob. Like...
That he perpetuated Jewish stereotypes as financially stingy, and that all of this appears in his books. The study, published in 2019, examined 50 books by Dr. Seuss, found 43 out of the 45 characters of color have, quote, characteristics aligning with the definition of Orientalism.
Okay, so this goes back to what I was saying to that guy up there who was, like, talking about leftist mental illness. If a common thread is in somebody... Okay, J.K. Rowling. Oh, she has horrible beliefs. But her books don't say anything about that. But when you realize her beliefs and then you look back at the text, you start to notice a trend between certain characters, like the house elves, like the ghosts. There's other things. There's way more things about how, like, black people were treated in that entire series, whatever. Blah blah blah. You could go into that on your own. I don't have enough information off the top of my head to even begin to think about that. But what I'm saying here is that's fake outrage. That's your virtue signaling something that's not happening. And you're saying it's not happening while saying it's happening. And now you want to fund the company that the left so-called canceled? I guess they're not canceled then, because there's still people who are willing to read those books. And if you read them and you don't get racist imagery out of them, great. Great. That's not the point, though. That's not the point. As a matter of fact, that would be more of a point towards you having learned that stereotypes shouldn't be upheld and that we should all... Is Ben Shapiro turning woke?
Unbelievable. It's just... It's all insanity, but, again, to call for an end to the insanity is to excise yourself from the community of the new ruling class.
The new rule, yeah. The class that's asking for more rights is the ruling class, because we got to ask.
And that is what all of this is about in the end. There's only one way to fight back against people who have declared themselves to be at the top of the ruling class, and that's to say, you don't get to rule us. End of story.
This is going to go... See, now, this is going to go into a big argument. I'm not ready to have this conversation on the stream right now, but this is going to go into a big argument about power and social dynamics. because what he just said is a low-key dog whistle. I know he doesn't mean it that way because he never has like done this before. Maybe he does now and he's finding new ways to slip it in. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. But what he just said just now,
it's all insanity. But again, to call for an end to the insanity is to excise yourself from the community of the new ruling class. And that is what all of this is about in the end. There's only one way to fight back against people who have declared themselves to be at the top of the ruling class, and that's to say, you don't get to rule us.
so why did the establishment fight so hard to give black people the right to vote, to end Jim Crow, to end slavery? Like, why was that a fight? If I were to take your statement, you don't get to rule us anymore, wouldn't that mean that we have a clear and decisive power imbalance, in society? If we have this much power to cancel people, then what is your power lie in? This is why this is a bad faith argument, because it's alluding to things that don't have structural sound in this environment. Does that make sense to you guys?
End of story. We ignore you, you're stupid, and we're not paying attention to any of this nonsense ever again. But here's the thing. The Biden administration has bought into this stuff hook, line, and sinker. So here's the thing. The Biden administration, being members of the new ruling class, and Joe Biden being an old, white, corrupt politician, has decided that he speaks the vocabulary too. And it's very important that he speak the vocabulary, because what the left has basically done is they've decided that by banding together identity politics and socialistic thinking, they can craft enough of a working majority to cram through their actual political agenda. Right? And to go back to the original thesis of today's show, it's all about politics. It is all about power and getting things done. It's about the authoritarian cram down of certain policies. Basically, there are a bunch of people who don't really buy into the vocabulary, who have decided they're going to make common cause with people who do buy into the vocabulary, and a bunch of people who actually believe in the inequity is inequality argument, who have decided that they will make common cause with the socialistic wing of the Democratic Party in order to cobble together a new coalition of the ascendant. You can see this actually pretty well in Bernie Sanders. If you look back at Bernie Sanders' original presidential campaign in 2016, he didn't speak about race nearly at all. It was all about how all of the problems in our society can be laid at the root of the capitalistic system, and if you just get more socialist, it solves everything. Then, over the course of the next few years, something interesting happened to the Bernie Sanders campaign. He was told that it was not racially sensitive to speak only in terms of class.
I wasn't going to bring that up.
Bernie Sanders is basically a commie, right? I mean, his perspective on life is rooted in Marxist fundamental lies about class conflict and how all of human life is driven by this class conflict. Everything he says is driven by that. And so if you believe that everything at root is about class conflict, it's not at root about racial conflict, right? The black working man and the white working man have more in common than the white working man and the white rich man, or the black working man and the black rich man. If it's about class, it's not about race. But Bernie Sanders was told that this was racially insensitive. And so he decided to make common cause with the woke and start pushing as many woke policies as he could get his hands on. And this was, writ small, what has happened with the Democratic Party writ large. This was the magic of Barack Obama, right? This is what Obama did as president. I know that we have this picture of Barack Obama as though Barack Obama was this wonderful unifying figure. That is a figure put forth by the media. It is a lie. Barack Obama of 2004 was not the same as Barack Obama circa 2010. In 2004, Barack Obama was saying there are no black Americans. There are no white Americans. We're all just Americans. There's no red America, no blue America.
I hate his I hate his yo. Fuck him for that one.
Just America. By 2010, Barack Obama was breaking down Americans into their identity groups so that he could specifically appeal to members of those identity groups to create a coalition. This is the reason why he actually shrank his number of votes between 2008 and 2012, but it was enough to get him by Mitt Romney. So the merger between identity politics and typical sort of Democratic Party politics has been ongoing, and Joe Biden is the culmination of that, which is how you end up with a machine politician like Joe Biden, and that's what he is. A sort of machine, typical, corrupt old white politician.
Does he not understand the irony of saying old white corrupt politician, knowing that he's literally been on Trump's nuts since he was elected?
Who's suddenly become the face and voice of the racial reparations movement. According to
the racial reparations movement? Bro, nothing we've asked for, police, more police surveillance to make sure they're doing a good job, better wages, healthcare. None None. All right. Go. Go. Yeah. Sorry, man.
To one of Joe Biden's top advisors. He is going to start acting now to address reparations to Black Americans. Speaking to Axios on HBO in an interview set to air on Monday, White House senior advisor Cedric Richmond discussed efforts targeted.
This is just too good. Like, it's like he's literally softballing this shit. There's no way on earth he's not doing this just a grift.
To helping minority communities. Richmond said they're not waiting on Congress. He said, we don't want to wait on a study. We're going to start acting now. We have to start breaking down systemic racism and barriers that have held people of color back, and especially African Americans. We have to do that stuff now, right? That's the vocabulary. And we're going to specifically appeal on the basis of race and suggest that all inequality is inequity. And Joe Biden has decided that equity is the byword of his administration. So, for example, he says that we are going to start talking about free college tuition to historically Black colleges and universities. If you start talking about free community college in Title I and all these things, I think you're well on your way. Now, let's be real about this. If you're talking about free college, the reality is that the great imbalance in our society is the number of people going to college between people who are Black and white. The number of people who are white going to college by percentage is significantly higher. The number of people going to college who are Black. That's not because of lack of affirmative action programs or benefits programs or scholarship programs. All of those exist in plenty. Right? The real problem is the failure of lower education, the failure of the public school system. So what is this? It's a typical Democratic policy smuggled in under the guise of the vocabulary.
Do I have to unpack that one, or can we just fucking move on? Because now my head hurts. Can we move on, guys? I'm moving on. Fuck it. He's literally... I'm just going to play the audio. Just going to play the audio.
Nothing I do, for instance, to a Black person like Trihex and say, it's always, what do you think Black people?
What a fucking liar, dude. What a fucking Weasley little liar, dude. What a fucking Weasley little liar, dude. Holy shit, dude.
Excuse me.
Holy fucking
I'm out of
shit,
control.
dude.
I apologize for that.
Literally lying. Still lying to his audience. Can someone at least fucking enlighten Destiny that he's literally lying to his audience? What a fucking piece of shit, dude. Holy fucking shit.
That's the end of this segment.